united in condemning hate and evil in all of its very ugly forms. What we are witnessing today is the renewal of the American spirit. Our allies will find that America is once again ready to lead. And calls for one of the largest increases in national defense spending in American history. And calls for one of the largest increases in national defense spending in American history. It is American leadership based on vital security interests that we share with our allies all across the globe. We strongly support NATO, an alliance forged through the bonds of 2 world wars that dethroned fascism and the Cold War and defeated communism.
I bet you've been waiting for WW3 to start since 2008. This video is going to be very interesting, because the time has come. In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet it was planned that way. My goal is to paint a picture in your mind, and I want to show you that what you will see in this video, it is a strategic long-term plan of someone. The missile defense shield in Europe and in Asia is a strategic long-term plan of some group. When you will be watching this video, try to ask yourself the following question. When the missile defense shield is ready to defend both sides, what is the next step? What will happen next? Let me remind you, the purpose of the missile defense shield is to protect from a nuclear missile attack. The installation of the US missile defense shield in Europe along Russian border is a direct threat to us all. Russia has opposed the US and NATO plans to deploy anti-missile defense systems close to Russia's borders for decades. Washington says that the anti-missile defense system would not threaten Russian security. Here is Moscow. The reason why we are looking at this map is that I want to show you that Putin is surrounded by NATO countries and its allies on the European side of Russia. Just look at this map. I want you to have a clear picture in your mind, because all the other information in this video and in my new video, it will be directly related to this map. To prevent an attack on Moscow, Putin is placing S-400 missile defense systems around Moscow. Also in Moscow we have mobile vehicles with nuclear missiles patrolling Moscow streets. Simply just raise this question. What is the point to patrol Moscow streets with nuclear missiles? We have S-400 missile defense systems put there along Finland, and we have S-300 and S-400 missile defense systems here in Kaliningrad. Also we have S-300 missile defense systems stationed in Belarus. Then we have S-300 and S-400 missile defense systems stationed close to the border with Ukraine. The most recent announcement by Russia to station S-300 and S-400 missile defense systems in Crimea. I was surprised when I saw this information that Putin wants to install S-400 missile defense systems in Turkey. This is another sign that the Illuminati is losing the global game, period. In Kaliningrad we have S-300 and S-400 missile defense systems stationed. But the scary part is that in Kaliningrad we have Putin threatening to put nuclear missiles there. On top of that, S-400 missile defense systems can carry a nuclear warhead. Let's have a look at the missile defense shield in Europe, which is being installed and being activated by the United States and NATO. In Ukraine, along Russian border, we have troops participating in all kinds of military drills and missile defense training. We had NATO drills in Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, Moldova, Romania and Georgia. I showed you that a security wall along this area is being built right now. The cost of the security wall, it will be around 500 million US dollars. Here on this map, we will be looking at a missile defense shield in Europe. We have a missile defense system active now in Poland. The government officials in Norway are about to invest millions in the missile defense system to protect themselves from Putin. Lithuania is investing hundreds of millions into the missile defense systems. We have UK bringing missile defense system elements to Estonia in a name that Putin can invade UK. Then we have a missile defense systems in Romania. Then we have a missile defense system in Israel. Ukraine is in talks with NATO to install a missile defense systems very close to Russia's border. Then we have a missile defense system on ships in the Black Sea, in the Baltic Sea and in the Sea of Spain. In the Black Sea and in the Baltic Sea we have a missile defense shield. And just in a case of any Russian nuclear missile launched from the Russian territory, if these missile shields won't be able to shoot down the Russian missile, then we have the United States who has activated another missile defense shield here in the sea near Spain. Remember, this is not a joke. This is very serious situation. I mean, they are getting ready for WW3 where nuclear weapons will be used. And this time Putin will not be able to run away like he did in Syria. But this time Putin will have to respond to a provocation which will be the cause of the start of WW3. Just to remind you that in these three countries along the Russian border with Europe, the United States have placed more than 200 nuclear weapons called B-61. After listening to all this information, try to picture in your head for what kind of event both sides are preparing for.
It's also worried China, as Emily Sue explains.
Both the US and South Korea insist the main aim of THAAD is to deter nuclear and ballistic threats from North Korea. But Beijing is not convinced, and they have good reason not to be. That's because THAAD comes with a powerful radar that has a detection range of 2,000 kilometers, meaning that the system will give South Korea, a US ally, the ability to peer deep into China and potentially extract sensitive military information. Evidence of how angry Beijing is can be found in this editorial published by state-backed China Daily, which compares THAAD's deployment to the Cuban Missile Crisis. And here's what the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman said on Tuesday.
China firmly opposes the United States and South Korea deploying the THAAD anti-missile system in South Korea. The United States and South Korea will bear all the consequences arising therefrom.
Nobody knows if China will respond to THAAD militarily, but some experts warn the real danger of THAAD is that it will provoke China to build more advanced weapons and accelerate its development of missile technologies. With China's firm opposition and deteriorating ties with South Korea and the US, it looks like THAAD could do more damage than good in the region.
Here's China. The reason why we are looking at this map is that I want to show you that China is in deep trouble. To prevent an attack on China, China is placing all kinds of missiles and missile defense systems on the South China Sea island. We have 172,000 cargo ships in China. Some of those cargo ships can easily be converted to warships. And China can install the missile defense systems on those cargo ships. China is teaming up with Russia. These two countries are working on together on creating their own missile defense shield. This map clearly shows an unprecedented US military buildup close to China. This map will show you an unprecedented missile defense shield on China's doorstep and around the South China Sea area. In this region, where we have Vladivostok, South Korea, North Korea, Vietnam, Japan, and Hawaii, those countries are also installing the missile defense shields. Just remember, this is not a joke. This is very serious situation. Illuminati is ready to start WW3, especially in this region where $5 trillion of US dollars of trade passes each year. When the conflict will break out in the South China Sea, the global financial world will collapse like a house of cards. Things around the world, especially in the South China Sea and along the Russian border with Europe, are getting really hot. Our research findings clearly indicate that a major conflict between NATO and Russia, China and the United States can begin anytime now. When the United States is testing its new intercontinental ballistic missile, we have Canada asking to join the US Missile Defense Shield to enhance national security. Canada has suggested it wants to join the US Missile Defense Shield. The US and Japan have passed a crucial test for the missile defense, shooting down a medium-range ballistic missile with a new interceptor launched from a guided missile destroyer. The US Missile Defense Agency announced that the USS John Paul Jones detected, tracked, and took out the strategic ballistic missile using its onboard Aegis missile defense system and a standard Missile 3 Block 2A interceptor. The test took place off the Hawaiian island of Kauai. The USS John Paul Jones launched a ballistic missile interceptor of Hawaii. The missile developed jointly by the Japanese and the US government, which is vitally important to both nations. The goal of the test was to improve the ability to defend against increasing ballistic missile threats around the world. Russia will restore a missile attack warning station near Crimea to counter an increasing NATO activity in the Black Sea. The Russian Navy will deploy batteries of Buk missiles in Crimea to protect its surface ships and submarines against drones and cruise missiles. Russia wants to beef up anti-access area denial capabilities around the Black Sea Peninsula. The USS Ross intercepted a ballistic missile as a part of the exercise, testing the first part of the US missile shield in Europe. The missile shield has been criticized as an attempt to alter the balance of forces in the region. The ship's mission in the Black Sea would be to provide security and military readiness for the US allies and partners. The USS Ross is an Arleigh-Burke-class guided missile cruiser armed with the Aegis cruise missile system, which is capable of carrying up to 56 nuclear-armed Tomahawk missiles. We have around 4,000 cruise missiles in the Black Sea and in the Baltic Sea pointed at Putin. This strategy would enable Trump to deliver precision-guided, non-nuclear airstrikes anywhere around Moscow in less than an hour. The goal of this strike is to neutralize the Russian nuclear stations and nuclear mobile units.